Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to this evening's session. And a belated happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrated Thanksgiving. Can you? It's a bit funny, the sound. Thanksgiving is the only Thursday in the year that the meditation center is closed. every other Thursday of the year there is a session going on. So Thanksgiving is the only day. But today we are here again. And today's topic is, I feel, a very exciting topic. But it may scare some people away a little bit. Karma and reincarnation. But it did not scare you away. Very good. And I guess those who came have extra interest probably in this topic. Anyway, tonight no one new is here. No, I've seen everyone before. Yes. So we can be frank and open. And no need to be too careful. I think, is anyone on Zoom here for the first time? If you are for the first time, then please raise your hand. I don't think everyone has been before. Okay, so I'll give some simplified understanding about karma and the phenomena of rebirth, and then we will go into the more detailed understandings. The law of karma is generally understood as, how to say, every action has a reaction, equal opposite reaction. As you sow, so shall you reap. This is how it is understood popularly, but I think it doesn't do justice at all to that law of karma, and it is very useful to grasp it properly. And so it is actually a law that protects the the state of harmony. And so everything that pushes or pulls something out of a state of harmony, a force is generated to push or pull it back. And that applies to all levels of existence. And of course, in physics, they call it the law of thermodynamics. But what it implies is that there is a state of balance, a state of harmony for everything. And if that state of harmony is broken for whatever reason, the law of karma will generate situations, forces to put it or push it back in that state of harmony. Now, to simplify this is, say you put your foot in your neck. You lift your foot and you put it in your neck. What will happen? It will reach, Jose? Probably not. You put your foot in your right hand or your left hand and you put it in your neck. Most probably it won't even reach. And halfway, what will happen halfway? Oh, he's trying.
It hurt.
Oh, it hurts. And what does that pain tell you?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's not so clever. This is not so clever. This is not the natural, this is not the harmonious state, position of your body to be in. So, and that pain is telling you, don't lift your foot further. Bring it back. There is some danger there. It is not natural. It is not the harmonious state of your body. It's not the harmonious position of your body to be in. And although there may be people who may be able to do it, it is because they train and train and train. No, it is not natural for an adult body to put foot in neck. It's also not very practical because you can't walk doing that. So this body was not naturally made for a position like that. And so there is me using my free will to take my foot and put it in my neck because I can do what I want. Nobody can really stop me. I can do what I want. But this pain is guiding my ability to choose. And when I choose something that is not so intelligent, the pain tells me this is not a good way to go. Understand? Whilst if I keep my body in a position that is in line with the forces of harmony, then the body will feel okay. The body will feel comfortable. The body can function properly. So I can choose to keep the body in this position, or I can choose to put my foot in my neck in another position. Now, this position with foot in the neck is not natural, it's not harmonious, it's not practical. And so the pain is telling me, put your foot down and just use it to walk or to stand, but not try to put it in the neck. Now, nature and this body can't talk to tell me, hey, dummy, don't get in that strange position. Nature can't talk. The universe cannot talk. So it has to use another method to tell me what you're doing is aligned with the forces of harmony, or it is not in line. And when what you're doing is in line with the forces of harmony, you have comfort, you get good results. You can walk and you can walk to the subway, you can move, you can jump, you can do all kinds of things. But if you're doing something against what is natural and harmonious position, then nature has to give us discomfort. And discomfort is the way nature talks to us. And discomfort at all levels still is discomfort. Pain is one level of discomfort. Illnesses are other levels of discomfort. And they are all there to kind of guide our intelligent or non-intelligent use of the free will. Did I say that right? So we all have free will. We can do what we want. We can jump out of the window if we want to. But there are consequences. And so the phenomena of discomfort and pain tries to guide our abuse of this freedom of choice that we have. However, having said that, we have, how to say this? We have forgotten this law. We have forgotten how to listen to nature. We have forgotten how to listen to the forces of the universe. We have forgotten how to play this game. And now we feel it is freedom to do what I want, how I want, what I please. I want to jump out of the window and fly. I can do that if I want to, but be a price to pay. Hmm? And it might not be the highest way to use this body. Understand this? What I'm trying to explain. There is this physical universe, and there are physical gross laws, but there are subtle laws that try to guide our actions and try to guide our choices. And they work on a gross level, but they also work on a subtle level. It doesn't only apply to whether I put my foot in my neck or not. It also applies to the level of my thoughts. It also applies to the level of what I speak. It also applies to the way I interact with others. It also applies to my attitude and my vision. Is my attitude an attitude that is beneficial for everyone or not? Is my attitude one of taking and breaking and abusing? Or is my attitude one of contributing? And both forms of attitude, they have a response. Something will come back to me according to the quality of my attitude, sooner or later. So this law of karma tries to guide or protect a certain harmonious state. And the law of karma would like to encourage us, each one of us, to bring out the best that is in us. And when we don't, or when we even go against, then there is some form of discomfort that will come. Does it make sense? So the whole area of physical illness is such a big thing at the moment. Now, what this law of karma tells us, we have been using our bodies against the natural forces of benevolence and goodness. We have been using this body for actions that were not aligned with what this body was meant for. And I'll give a simple example. We have been using this body for greed, expressions of greed. Now, one way is eating way too much. Just one way. Another is eating way too unhealthy. Sleeping whenever, however, wherever, sometimes even with whomever. Maybe that is not what the body was meant for. We have used this body for emotions that come from arrogance, emotions that come from lust, emotions that come from anger. Maybe this body wasn't made for all of that. And so that is why it doesn't stay in good health and doesn't last as long as it could, theoretically. Does it help to understand this law? Now, if we would use this body with a mind that is peaceful, with a mind that is loving, with a mind that is joyful, with a mind that is wise, with a mind that exudes serenity and enthusiasm, the body will thrive with those feelings. And this is just one, this is only, I'm talking about emotions and feelings now. We have used this body also for physical actions. We not only get angry inside and all heated up and a headache and high blood pressure, but we have also used these hands to hit sometimes or to do things that physically hurt others. Maybe these hands were not made for that. Nature did not give us this body to be abusive. We have the free will to be abusive. Nature gave us this body for another reason. So if we use it for abusive actions, why would this body remain healthy long? Understand the subtlety of karma. So it is not like I smile to you, so you will smile back. There is a whole world behind that smile. There are thoughts, there are intentions, there are emotions and feelings behind that smile. Where is it coming from? And all of those levels need to be taken into consideration. Now, what spiritual knowledge tells us is our external factors are, what is it? No, sorry, let me say it differently. Our internal factors invite our external factors. This is a bit more deeper. So our external circumstances are an effort of the universe to either reaffirm the goodness that is inside or to teach us to shift something, to tell us to put our foot down instead of in our neck, to change our mental positioning. You want to say anything so far? Otherwise, we'll go to the board. Varsha, your face looks like you want to say something.
Oh, no, I'm good. Thanks, sister.
Can you take the mic?
So sometimes when something bad happens, people say, oh, it's going to be okay. And sometimes I think to myself, what is okay? We just change what okay means. The situation is objectively worse than it was before, but now we are okay with it. So we change what okay means. Is that what you're trying to say when the external and the internal, or no?
No, that is not what I'm trying to say. That's not at all what I'm trying to say. Actually, that is what the world is doing. And no, there is this kind of an anecdote of these amphibians. One of the possibilities they have is that their bodies adjust to the external temperature. So it gets hotter, so they adjust to the heat, and then it gets hotter, it adjusts, and it gets hotter and adjusts. So this is a bit not very pleasant idea, but if you put the frog in water, he's okay, he adjusts to that environment. But if you put that water on fire, he will just adjust and adjust and adjust and adjust and adjust.
Everything is okay.
Raj?
Yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay, right, bye. Om Shanti.
Yeah, so and you just adjust, and this frog adjusts and adjusts and adjusts. But if he continues to adjust, he cannot endlessly do that. So what happens? He explodes, actually, if he stays in that. But he has to jump out. And this is what human beings, actually out of our innocence, we have done. We have adjusted to ignorance. We have adjusted to vices. We have adjusted to stress. We have adjusted to conflicts. And we just adjust, and take it and take it. That is not what I mean by love. Not at all, because one day you'll explode. Your head will explode. That is not the idea of karma. Ifat, you want to say something?
So when you talked about our internal factors invites our external factors. So my background is in traditional Chinese medicine. And so in Chinese medicine, everything is impacted by emotion. And so you'll have someone who has kind of chronic upper respiratory infections, and they're always having something like that. And they'll wonder why. You'll ask them about their emotions. Because in Chinese medicine, lung represents loss. Loss or grief or something like that. And so in Chinese medicine, there's always a theory that your internal impacts your external. So your emotions come out in your health.
Yeah.
So when you said that, that's what I thought of when you talked about.
Very good. I'll give another example. This is my personal example. When growing up, as a small child, I used to puke all the food that they used to give me. I used to throw up, especially the meat. Now, I grew up in a meat-eating culture and a meat-eating family. And I used to spit it all the time. But they, out of love, their love and their care for me is to force me to eat. So I eat, and at the age of 6, 7, I started to accepting the food, and I started eating and being okay with that. But at the same time, as a teenager, my blood pressure started going up. As a teenager, couldn't get no reason, couldn't understand. And when I was 21, 22, the doctor said, this can't be managed anymore with physical exercise and with dietary measurements. You have to take medication. And I didn't want to. At that time, I came into contact with the Brahma Kumaris, and I became familiar with the concept of vegetarianism, which at that time in the culture I was living in was kind of a foreign concept. And I became a vegetarian. And within the space of 3 weeks,
You stopped throwing up.
The blood pressure became normal. And now 30 some years later, I still have no problem. So this is a simple example. There are much more complicated dynamics in the law of karma, but this is a simple example where I feel that body was rejecting it, but nobody was understanding. I myself wasn't understanding. And when I stopped it, body became okay. These are details of the law of karma, but it is useful to start understanding and observing your life in that way. Another thing that I have learned over the years is whenever I make a wrong decision with money, something always comes. Some bill or some unexpected thing, or Con Edison bill, big, or whatever. When I do something wrong with money, something comes back. And it happens in other areas too, but I'm not always alert. I'm not always, what is the word? Conscious and observing it. But even deeper, spirituality says, you can see the board, everyone can see the board. if this is a mind, if this is a spiritual mind, and so in a spiritual mind, the awareness of self is, I'm a spiritual being, an invisible, living light, being of consciousness, bodiless, a soul. A being who is a guest in this body, a guest in this, on this planet, a traveler through time, a being who is immortal, a being who belongs to God, a being who belongs to that dimension beyond the physical. In a spiritual mind, this is the awareness of self. And the atmosphere that this awareness generates in the mind and in the consciousness is an atmosphere of peace, an atmosphere of joy, an atmosphere of freedom, an atmosphere of feeling secure, immortality. I cannot die, I cannot lose anything ever, truly. An atmosphere of love. Love is more, love, not the way we see these days with Valentine Day and all of that. Love is an emotion that wants to give and uplift. A feeling where you want everyone to be well and everyone to be able to bring out the best. That will be the natural state in a mind that is spiritual, a mind that is what we call soul conscious. And spiritual knowledge says that this is actually our natural state. This is the natural inner state of all of us. But we have moved away from this state into a state of mind that we call body consciousness, where the sense of self is centered around a body. I see myself and I deeply believe myself to be a bodily being, a male or a female, or something in between. These days there are many different gender identities, but it is all based on the body and a sense of being a bodily being and experiencing the self through sense experiences and sense pleasures. We see ourselves belonging to a certain ethnicity, to a certain culture, to a certain social group or social status or standard with certain positions and certain possessions and certain people. So our sense of self is connected to other bodily beings, is connected to possessions, is connected to a certain position, a certain culture. The thing with all of these things, even the body, it can change. And it can finish anytime. So in this state of consciousness, what we call body consciousness, there is a sense of insecurity, a sense also of anything, anytime can change and I can lose. So there is a deeper sense of insecurity which give rise to peacelessness, anxiety, fear, but also greed, also arrogance, also anger, depression. So it is a different mood and a different atmosphere that is created inside than this. Now, with which mind the body will feel better? I think that's quite obvious. So in which mind the body will have more health and probably lasts longer
And
in
social
a
con.
good state of health, most probably in this state of consciousness. And when we're in this state of consciousness, there will be ache here, ache there, tension here, tension there, high blood pressure, all kinds of other things. And that is only at the level of the body. What state will my relationships be in when I'm in this?
Harmonious.
There will be more chance that I will have higher quality relationships and higher quality of friendships than when I'm in this. Now, when everyone on earth is in this, what will life be like?
Harmonious.
If everyone on earth is in this state, what will life be like?
Chaos.
Mukta is saying like what it is now. Yeah. We largely at present, this is the state of mind that the world is in at this moment in time. Largely. Not everyone exactly, but majority. And systems and structures in society are like this at the moment, matching this mind. So all our problems and discomforts, what is this telling us? Drop this and come here. And I can't do that for anyone else, but I can at least do it for myself. And then be part of the solution instead of the problem. Now, this state of mind hasn't come to us overnight. We started out like this. But this over time has become our state. And that is where the process of rebirth comes in. So in the spiritual model, there is a non-physical dimension, which is called the soul world. And there is a physical dimension, the world of matter, the world of sound, the world of movement, the world of action, the world of time, the world of change, the world of objects and bodies. The world of human society, human civilization that has become less civilized. And so the spiritual model says we are all spiritual beings, souls, beings of consciousness, beings innately peaceful, loveful, pure, blissful, innocent, free, immortal, imperishable, who need nothing to be who they are, to be, need nothing to exist, need nothing to be peaceful. They're immensely loving and they belong as a family in this home of light. And they belong to the Supreme. Now, these souls come to the physical world and we travel in the physical world. And we associate with the body to experience the physical world. It's nice here. There are some ocean and clouds and flowers and trees, music and literature and poetry. Nice, different experience. There is sound here, there's a body here. We can see different experience than the home. So we come here. And when one body has come to the end of its lifespan, so goes into another body, into another body. into another body, into another body. And over time, we forget the home.
Mm.
Over time, we forget ourselves because invisible, subtle. Over time, we get so fascinated with dollars and diamonds, and I'm exaggerating and making it look silly, but we become so fascinated with physical experiences and sense experiences and pizza and cheese and chocolate. And it pulls us into gradually, over time, it pulls us in this state. And so now, this state more and more brings discomfort. More and more, there are forces working to make us drop these egos and these false identities. Forces in turn, in the sense of, for example, physical discomforts, relationship discomforts, social discomforts, on all level. There are forces working that are aimed at us dropping the different false identities, the ego, the greed, the lust, the attachment, the anger. The problem is we don't know how to interpret these forces. And then we think nature is unjust and this life is for suffering and this universe is, there is no justice here. And or we blame it on God, whatever. We find all kinds of reasons, but we never question truly, is there something inside that I need to shift? Do I need to change my inner positioning, my mental positioning? And the Rajyoga knowledge tells us, shift your mental positioning. You are not a human being. You are not a bodily being. You are a spiritual being, a soul. You don't die, you are immortal. Body has the end of the lifespan, yes, but when your shoe is old, you don't say, I die. So body is like a shoe for the soul, more sophisticated than what you buy in Macy's, but it is the chariot of the soul. When it is old, you change it, get another one. But over time, from one body into the next, this has become more and more consolidated. Started to see myself as a male or a female. Soul is neither male nor female.
Why aren't we conscious of the reincarnation? Why isn't that? Because, the shoe dies or, whatever, and we don't die. But let's say the end of life comes and then you go into the next one. We're not conscious of that, though. We're conscious of our shoe being messed up, though.
There are people who are aware. There are people who remember and who remember even details. And I believe that there was a time when we knew much more. But even this life, do you remember what you did November 30th, 2001? No. So to forget things is natural also. But what we carry with us is tendencies and inclinations and deeper habits. So we don't remember in terms of details whom I was with, my address and what I did, where, but our tendencies and inclinations at birth tell us what our past was, our deeper longings, and also the forces that come at us tell us certain things about the past. And actually, this process of forgetting is natural, and it is not bad at all, actually. We have enough to juggle on our plate this life. We do not want to know the past. So this is the whole process of rebirth is not to get to know what I did in my previous birth or the birth before. It
It's
is just to know that there is a bigger picture and there is a bigger journey.
to pay attention to the force.
And that what I am today and what I experience today is the end result of a longer journey. And also what I do today and what I do now is a seed for what will come in the future.
Seems and also though maybe inefficient if we're trying to learn or remember, you know, like there's so many people that say, what would I told my teenage self? You know, it seems like we should probably bring some of that experience forward. So you
Sorry,
can,
what?
like some people when they're in their middle age, they say, oh, if only I told if I knew this as a teenager, what
Yeah.
I know now, you know, things would have been easier.
Yeah, that's true. That may be true, but that still is not how it is. At least now I know, so let me now act wisely. And let me share with others what I know now so that they can learn younger and earlier.
Mhm.
Hmm? Anyone excited now? I'll tell a story which bit to illustrate um, um, this phenomena of rebirth. A friend of mine, his son, one day he comes and he says, I want him to learn to meditate. Can you teach him? So I said, okay, if he has interest, let him come. And so this friend says, anything. So the boy comes. The boy is about 17 or so, around that age when he comes. And he learns to meditate, and I ask him, why do you want to learn to meditate? He says, I have lack of confidence, and I'm very scared. Anything, little things, I feel I will fail. And but what I'm very scared of is heights. And I say, why? I say, because I have a dream, and in that dream I fall from a bridge that collapses, and I fall into liquid cement and I drown. And I say, since I can remember, I have this dream. It's more like a nightmare. And this dream is always there. And when I dream, it is as if it is real. And this has made me very insecure during my life growing up. Can meditation help me come out of this? Or at least be more calm? So I said, okay, let's try. And he learns to meditate. He likes it. It makes him feel, it gives him a sense of peace and a sense of control over his emotions. This happened on one of the Caribbean islands. So one day, another friend takes me on a tour of the island. I was there relatively new. And so he says, I'll tell you some of the history of this island. And this island, the city is divided by water. The ocean comes into a bay, and so around the bay is the city. And so there is a huge bridge from one part of the city to the next, crossing the bay. A very high bridge. And it is like a landmark on that island. And so when we drive there, he tells me there is a story to this bridge. When it was almost finished, it collapsed. And so this bridge that you're now seeing is the second built one. I said, oh, really? And he said, yes. And there were some men working on the bridge that fell and they drowned in a tank of liquid cement. Really? This sounds like the story of this boy and his dream. But it is a real story. It is verified. And so I asked about the dates. What are the dates that this happened? And he had to research it. And later on, he gave me the dates. And so I go back to this boy and I ask him his date of birth. This boy is born 6 months after that bridge collapsed. And now I go to the boy's father, who is a friend of mine, and I ask him circumstances around the birth of this boy. And he says, as a baby, and even as a child, they could never take him across the bridge. When he was born in the hospital. And to go from the hospital to the place where they live, so when the mother was discharged with the baby, they have to cross the bridge, or they have to go all around the island to get there. They couldn't take the child, the baby, over the bridge, because every time they approach the bridge, the baby goes in a panic, a hysteric attack, as a child. Not a child, a baby, newborn, 2 weeks or something. So whatever they do, they cannot take the baby across that bridge. So they take it around the island. And his whole life, this boy said, and the island is not big. His whole life, he has never crossed that bridge. And he's scared of heights. So he has never flown anywhere else either, because he's scared of taking a plane. Now, how do you explain that? But whether you explain it or not, he started his process of meditation. And he became quite serious about it. He liked it very much. And he started practicing soul consciousness, started practicing experiencing himself as a bodily being, an immortal being in the soul world, and cultivating a relationship and experiences of the presence and company of the Supreme. And those experiences gave him so much peace and a deeper sense of feeling safe and secure that he became calm. And his personality changed. His father even told me, what happened with this boy? And not overnight, it's not overnight, but in the space of 8, 9 months to a year, definitely he became almost like a different person. And 2 years later, he flew to Holland for his further studies, first time on a plane. And after some years, his father told me he was doing well. And I asked, is he still having those nightmares? And father said he doesn't know if he never dreams about it anymore, but it doesn't disturb him anymore. So this is one. I can go on all night telling anecdotes like this, which are based on what people have told me personally. And so this is, I think, a very positive example of what can happen. But I do think for all of us, there are lessons, deeper lessons. And there is not really a tailor-made answer for everyone. How to say? No, you don't say. There is not a general answer for everyone, because everyone has their tailor-made inner factors, because everyone's journey is unique. So the impressions that we carry from the past are unique to each one of us. And so what life gives back to us is also unique. So every situation carries its own message. I hope I did not scare anyone today. But this is, yeah, a bit deeper spiritual knowledge to reflect on. Another example, my own example, as a child, from from the young age, from a childhood onwards, I always had a pull to know people from all cultures. One was a pull to travel, but not so much travel for travel, but travel because I used to love knowing other cultures, meeting people from other cultures, loving, whilst I grew up in a very small community, very close community. But that pull was always there. My friends, they did not like to see women with scarf. How you say that? Veil. I used to find it fascinating. I'm not saying, I'm not idealizing certain things, but I used to find it fascinating to see people from different cultures, different colors, different clothing, different systems, different habits, different traditions, different food. Since little, whilst the environment was very close and very privileged and I wasn't exposed to all these things, but pull was there. Where is it coming from? I know someone from birth, he couldn't even stand. He used to like to put his hand in strong alcohol.
Remember this story?
When parents get guests and then the guest drinks whiskey or vodka or all these strong types of alcohol, he would crawl. He couldn't even stand, crawl, pull himself up to stand or put his hand in. And this baby getting drunk. No, normally babies can't stand. Even beer is too strong for them. But this one, he wants to. One day he pulled all the bottles out of the wet bar and they were all flush on the floor. And he's sitting in the middle of the what is it? The pool, full of alcohols, putting his finger, other finger, other finger, other finger. He can't even walk yet.
So,
Say
sister,
out loud what
so
his previous birth looked like, but you have imagined. But growing up, of course, when parents noticed, they stopped it. When parents noticed, they kept him away from alcohol. And so he grew up with cold turkey. And when he was when he was when he was a teenager, he became involved in sports, and so he himself did not want any more of it. And as far as I know, till today, he's not drinking at all. He chose not to. So even though you carry things from the past, it doesn't mean it is fixed and forever. Things can shift, things can change.
so sister, that desire of knowing people from other countries that you had, because I had that a lot too. So that comes from the previous
It tells me something of my past. It is not necessarily the previous birth, but some
The past.
experiences are there in the consciousness. I remember the first time when I went to India. It's just such a strange experience, and my temperament is not like that at all. But the moment I put foot on the ground there from the airplane, I get this pull to kneel down and kiss the ground. I didn't do it, but the pull was so strong. I didn't understand where it came from at that time. Now I understand, but at that time I didn't. And I was with a friend who was Indian origin. She did not have that pull at all. She thought this dirty. What is it, dusty? What do you want to kneel down here for? She said something wrong with you, Rona. But I had this strong pull, as if I'm coming home and wanting to kiss the ground. And I had never been to India in this lifetime.
Maybe that baby with alcohol affinity, maybe that's a good reason why the consciousness of life.
Yeah.
You don't bring forward that
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
He was able to-
Can you say in the mic so that others can hear? Because
Yeah, I was just saying maybe the example of the baby with the vice of the alcohol thing in the past, maybe that's a good reason for wiping the consciousness in between changing the body. Because then he was able to make a new sanskar maybe with the sports and stuff.
yeah. There is, I mean, I know these things may sound harsh outside of this context, but there is a certain force of benevolence in the process of dying and taking rebirth. And naturally, also, someone who naturally grows to an old age, they naturally detach from certain things. They as if let go and go more to essence of life and experience, as if closing chapters, closing chapters. Next story begins. So you don't carry with you the active memories, but you carry with you the tendencies and the impressions. And in these children, many of the children who remember past lives, many of those children, they speak of an abrupt end of life, as if they were not prepared to go yet. Then certain memories are active. Okay, but as usual, when we're having fun, time flies.
Maybe one session, maybe you can talk a little bit more about the dreams a bit, if there is any spiritual knowledge about that.
Yeah, but another time. Okay, anyone on Zoom wants to share any final? Of course, there is much more on this topic if you dive deeper into the Raj Yoga knowledge and the practice of meditation, and some more details. But just to understand this law of karma, very useful. And everything that is happening at present is in the world, in our little world, but in the world at large, is telling us to shift here. The essence of the law of karma. Okay, so shall we close? Let's have a few minutes of meditation. So, reminding the self of our existence, at a non-physical level. Yes, there is a body and we acknowledge that. But we are the ones who are using the body, guests in this body, guests on this planet. Spiritual beings, timeless, immortal beings, who are like living lights. Your innocent, radiant, conscious living lights operating from the center of the forehead. And just play with this image in your mind. The real self is like a tiny star operating from the center of the forehead. You're free, timeless, serene, living light. And also play with this understanding that this real self, this living light, the soul, is a guest in this body, a guest on this planet. Free, timeless, living light. And as we go through the rest of the journey, let us aim to hold this awareness of guest, of living light. Thank you.